Hey guys, this is Viper. Since I started doing some reviews for the Matty Collector Ghostbusters, I figured I would do a tribute video to one of my all-time favorite movie cars, and that is, of course, the Ecto-1 from Ghostbusters. Now, the Ecto has come in many shapes, sizes, and forms over the years. I don't have every version of the Ecto-1 that has ever been released in terms of a model or a toy, but I have a few that pretty much will highlight the main releases that have occurred since the film debuted. That being said, I figure we may as well start with the smallest and work our way up. Now, this first Ecto is actually the Hallmark ornament that was released last year, and I picked it up at a Hallmark store. I think it was about $20. And I'm sure now if you try to find these on eBay or something, they're pretty high in price. Overall, I have to say, detail-wise, it's not too bad for something that's this small or, just a, not really necessarily a collectible, but just a Hallmark ornament that anybody buys. The rack up top is pretty good. I like the way they did the lights. They have a nice, I guess you would say, nice dark royal blue, but it's kind of translucent so you could see through it a little bit. And in terms of, the interior, it doesn't have a lot of detail, obviously, because it's so small. And, there's no chrome on the front or anything like that, but of course, let's face it, we're going to be nitpicking this little guy. Overall, he's really nice. I like it. But, of course, the coolest feature with all Hallmark ornaments is they always have some sort of a special gimmick. This one plays part of the Ghostbusters theme song. This little red button up here, press it down. Speakers underneath. I never get tired of that good old theme song. Well, that's pretty much it. I was actually quite surprised with it. It's a nice little piece. It's definitely a little more detailed than probably the little, the little Matchbox car version of it. That's for damn sure. I do not have that. And let's move on to the next one. Now, this next Ecto is going to be a big nostalgic road trip for me. As you can see, these are my original real Ghostbusters figures from when I was a kid. I still have them. They're not 100% complete, and they're beat to hell because I played with them quite a bit. But there they are nonetheless. And the little orange ghost actually came with the Ecto-1. And of course, here's the car. And I'm sure even through the camera you can tell that this car has been beaten, battered, bruised, and torn. I played with this thing probably on a daily basis when I was a kid. And it's very yellowed. The stickers are coming off. It's not, of course, detailed. It's not a collectible. It's an old 80s toy. But you know what? I love the thing. It was definitely one of the coolest toys I had back then. That and, of course, the Ninja Turtle van. But actually, for an old toy, it had its fair share of features. Of course, the doors opened up here, and you can stick good old Peter or Winston or whoever in the front seat. It had this little chair up top that the strap is essentially broken, but you could stick, one of the Ghostbusters up there, and they can shoot their proton packs at the evil nasties that are coming at you. If you opened up the rear of the car, it was pretty much a good place to store all the equipment. I don't know where those pieces are, but there was actually also a gimmick where there was a hook back here. And it could capture the little orange ghost that came with the Ecto. This little guy over here. You could actually capture him with it and reel him into the back of the car. Those pieces are long gone. I have no idea what happened to them. They probably just broke. But that was pretty much it in terms of features and stuff. There were a lot more stickers on it, but as time has gone on, they've peeled off. When Ghostbusters 2 was a big thing and I was a big fan of that, I actually would take stickers and just stick them all over the windows like it was slime. Alright, I'm sorry I'm rambling. I'm just a big nostalgic moment here. So let's move on to the next one. Before we take a look at the next car, I thought I'd mention what these boxes on the back are. This box is actually from, of course, the last Ecto I'm going to show you, which is the die-cast 121 scale Ecto, which is amazing. But these two down here are actually plastic model kits. This one was released in the 80s when the Ecto 1A came out for Ghostbusters 2. This one is still actually sealed. And I have another one that I got off of eBay that I have open that I intend to build at some point. This one is an Ecto 1 that was made by Polar Lights a few years ago, but this is very, very hard to find right now. I used to be an avid model builder. I have been trying to kind of get my skill back up building, regular cars like Vipers or Mustangs or whatever, because I really want to be able to build these cars again, as well as I have a couple Back to the Future DeLoreans I'd like to build too. But you want to have your skill all the way up so you can make sure you get a proper, accurate car made. But I just thought it'd be interesting to just show this one here, because like I said, the other one's sealed. Just because I'm sure a lot of people today don't really play with models or don't build models. Just show you how it kind of was packaged. This I don't really like about this is the fact that they put on, instead of having actual decals, they use just regular stickers, and that actually really chintzes out the model quite a bit in terms of look. I don't even have to have built the thing. I could tell you that it just really chintzes out the model. Here's the instructions. And in terms of how the kit looks before you build it, here's the body and the chassis on the bottom. Everything's molded in white with this kit, except for the windows, which are molded in half clear, half black. I don't know why they're molded the back in black. And then the chrome pieces are all modeled in a chrome. And it's actually a skill 1, which is essentially a snap-together kit. I mean, if I wanted to, I could pretty much just throw all the pieces onto it the way it is, and it would work, and you don't even really have to glue it. The problem is you're going to get a car that's essentially just white and doesn't have any look to it at all. But I guess that's a nice feature for people who just wanted to build the car, or like a kid making a toy. But it's a pretty interesting thing. This is pretty much the same thing, but like I said, I'm not going to take that one out of the box, and I don't know where the other one is at the moment. But now for the next actual Ecto, back in the day, I actually built this. This is this kit, the Ecto 1A, and I remember even as a kid, I was going back and forth from the movie, because this was before we had the internet and all that other fun stuff. I remember watching the movie, that one section in the middle of Ghostbusters 2 where they show off the car from the first time, with the whole We're Back song going on. And I would watch that over and over and over again to make sure I got these colors as close as I could to the actual car. Overall, I actually think I succeeded, except for a couple little things like this. I don't know what this is technically called, but this doesn't really look right. The biggest gaffe I think I've made on the car, though, is the fact that I put the rearview mirror in the middle of the windshield, and that doesn't really look very good. But overall, I mean, granted, this is going to be a biased view because I built it, but I think it actually looks pretty good overall. I've seen worse out there, trust me. But I'll let you guys be the judge of that. I, of course, have a personal attachment to it. You got the JL5 2020. We believe you. Call us. All the little, the little details that they had on the car in the movie. They pretty much had a decal for it. These actually were interchangeable. You had the option in terms of decals. You could either put Ghostbusters on the side or We're Back, and you could do that on either side. So I figured put Ghostbusters on one side and We're Back on the other. I like it, but again, I'm biased. All right, well, let's take a look at the last Ecto. And this last Ecto is probably the holy grail of Ecto-1s. And I can only hope that they one day make an Ecto-1A. This was made by Joyride Ertl, and it came out a few years ago. This car is excruciatingly hard to find. If you go on eBay and try to check this car out, you're probably going to be looking at, for a new in-box one, well over $100. I was able to get it when it came out. I actually got it as a Christmas present, I believe. And that's when it was brand new. It was $50, I believe. So it's definitely gone up in value. And the detail on this car is phenomenal. The doors on both sides open up. And in terms of the interior detail, which I know is not going to really show up, but in terms of the interior detail, they actually went so far as to put a CB radio in and detail the radio. The dashboard could you have a little bit more detail, but I mean, that's nitpicking. The interior is properly colored. This back door also opens. Doesn't open all the way, but it opens about that far. And they actually have the computers on both sides. They actually use decals for the computers themselves. And yeah, I know, I'm sorry. This is not going to show up at all because it's so dark. Actually, this is blacked out too. I guess I see why they blacked out the model. But this has the computer consoles. It has the two seats on this side where they can sit facing each other. Really, overall, very, very good. Uh-oh. Okay, that's not good. But let's see what else. The top, they did a pretty good job up here of adding these different little knickknacks. These are actually all detachable. They came that way in the package. And honestly, I mean, paint-wise, they have all the main things detailed paint-wise. They didn't go nuts adding like the little decals on the side, or I know there was a little bit more color up here in the movie. But overall, I have to say, I can't really complain about it too much, and it really is the best looking and the most stunning of all of them. And it's actually interesting that they didn't put the decals and the detail up here, but they did put this down here, which by the ladder states, "Keep clear, ectoplasmic residue overflow drain. Do not inhale vapors." So that's interesting. The one last thing, I didn't take it off the base because it has to screw it down, and there's really not too much detail on the bottom. But they also did add an engine compartment, which was a pretty cool little feature. And try to get some light over here. They did a decent job detailing the engine. I mean, they didn't go nuts, but then again, the fact that they have this is a plus anyway, because most of these types of kits, these specialty cars, don't have an engine. Like the Back to the Future one, they don't have an engine compartment, but then again, the engine compartment has all that crap on it. But I have to say, this is definitely one of my favorite. One of my favorite collectibles. And I mean, I know it's cliched at this point to say, I highly recommend you pick this up, but I do. If you can get it for a decent price, every once in a while I see it go for a relatively decent price. I've been thinking of getting another new in-box one. But that's about it. I hope you enjoyed my little trip down memory lanes talking about the Ecto-1, and I'll see you guys next time.